Hello, fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you are working on and work alongside while I chat. Or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen while I chat. I am today going to be working on my Seahorse from Diamond Dots. If you didn't see the unboxing of that, that was yesterday's video. Go check that out. I am so excited to be working on something that is not squares. So let me get all of this set up so I can zoom in. You can see where I'm going to be working, and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, let me grab a color and get started here. And then I will start with my life update, which is usually where I start, right? I think last time I was talking to you guys about going to Cirque and maybe seeing Six. I didn't end up buying the tickets to Six. And I gotta say, I'm kind of glad I did not buy the tickets. I found pieces of it to watch online. It is not at all what I was expecting. I think somebody mentioned it was more like a rock concert than a musical, which it kind of is, and not at all what I was expecting. So kind of glad I didn't buy the tickets for that. However, my Cirque tickets, when I bought them, I paid for them to be mailed to us, and it told me that they would get mailed to me like the week before the show. Yeah, they're already here. And the show's not for several months, so I don't know why it told me that. Interesting, but anyway, so that's all done and taken care of. I got some new shoes. They're supposed to be arch support, and I wore them on our walks, but they didn't really help with my walks, but they seem to be helping a lot wearing them around the house. However, we did go for walks this week, and when we went for our walk on Friday, my son's new shoes were giving him issues, and he's limping because of his foot. And so we'll make a pair limping down the street. So I think we're going to take a couple of days off just to give him some time to rest and recuperate his foot. I'm not really sure what's wrong with it. He thinks it's just the shoe. And so I think we're just going to take a couple days off, and I'll walk on the treadmill or the elliptical and let him just kind of rest up. Lord knows I don't want him to start having the same kind of problems I've been having. So, well, I've had a few wins this week. So I found a way to hang up my WIPs in my office the way that I wanted. I normally hang them on the back of my closet door, and I just was kind of, piling all the hangers on top of each other. Well, I went out and found there were like these little plastic pieces that you slip over the hanger, and then it creates another hanger, so you can kind of cascade things down the door. So because I'm now having multiple WIPs open and going at the same time, I decided that's what I was going to do. I currently have 4, I think, hanging on the door, which is insane to me because, like I said, I up to this point have always been, one of those, I don't open it until I'm actually ready to work on it. But I'm just finding with YouTube and some of the stuff that I'm having to do for reviews and, to kind of make my schedule a little bit easier on myself, I need to get better at working ahead, which means I need to work on multiple things. So yeah, I'm just going to have to grin and bear it, even if it's not my preferred way to work. Even though I say I have multiple WIPs going on, and I do, I have, actually drills laid on all of those canvases, except for one, I think. Yeah, I'm just going to have to wrap my brain around how I want to do that. But like I said, everything has been squares recently, and I don't have anything against squares. I like squares, but my brain needs a break. And rounds are easier for me, so I went through my stash and was like, what can I pull out? And I found this one. This one was close to hand, and so this is the one I pulled out. I actually have been wanting to get to this one anyway. I love the colors of it. I hope it turns out as good as I think it's going to. I have a thing for seahorses. My mom, when I was younger, kept lionfish, So we had a saltwater tank. Of course, we, as junior high kids and elementary school kids, we didn't like it. It was a saltwater tank. It was a pain in the rear because she had to, you basically have to take everything out to clean it, and you have to clean it way more often than you do freshwater with freshwater fish. And lionfish are very particular, and you have to get the pH of the water just exactly right, or they get sick and die. And, back in the 80s, this was just, I didn't know anybody who had exotic fish in their house. And you have to feed them live guppies, so that was no fun. Anyway, we went to the Dallas Aquarium, and we found these, they call them a leafy sea dragon seahorses, and they look like kelp with leaves. Like you would, unless you really are paying attention, you wouldn't realize that they weren't just like kelp and seaweed floating there, and they attach themselves to seaweed and stuff so they can just hang out. Fascinating. I was fascinated by them. Anyway, so that's why the seahorses. A little bit of a win for me that I figured out how to get everything kind of hung on the back of the door so I can work with multiple WIPs, which is good for me. The other wins I had this week, I don't know if you guys remember me telling you, but a couple of months ago, so this is July, that my son and I went to the dentist, and we have a healthcare spending account card, and I gave her my card to make a payment. She said it didn't go through. She tried it again, it didn't go through. Came home, had to make a payment. They cleaned out my HSA card, which I wasn't expecting. And after doing some digging, they basically the dentist office was telling me that, after doing some digging, what I discovered was they'd cleaned out my account, and that one of the $1,000 payments that she said did not go through actually did go through. So then I was arguing with the dentist because they kept telling me it wasn't showing up on their printouts, their little reports, whatever they get. And I said, that's great. I understand what you're saying, but you need to go look at your bank account because the money came out. And according to this, it was paid to your office. So it's got to be in there somewhere. And I didn't hear anything from them for about a month. And I got a bill in the mail for the $1,000. And I called them just furious. She just says, well, ignore the bill for now. We're still working on it, trying to figure out what happened. I'm not the only one. Okay, I don't know if that was supposed to make me feel better, but it really didn't, knowing that other people are having the same issue. And I thought, how long does it take? You've had over a month. How long does it take for somebody to go back through their bank account and figure out, hey, I've got an extra several $1,000s, depending on how many people this had happened to, So I did, and I just ignored it, and I thought, okay, I'm going to let it go for now. If I get another bill, I'm going to call the insurance company and figure out what's going on here. Earlier this week, I got a phone call from the dentist's office. So I called them back, and she called to tell me that, yes, they did have the $1,000, that they're not really sure what happened, but the card machine that they use, to take people's payments doesn't show that payment went through or that money was ever deposited in their account. However, in looking back through their bank account, they did see the payments, not only from me, but from some of these other people. So they're not really sure what happened. And I'm like, well, I don't really care what happened as long as you're telling me that you've got the money and you're not going to continue to send me a bill for money that I don't owe, then we're all good. So now I can file away all of that paperwork because I had printouts that I had made, bills, things that I had figured are insurance, EOBs, and all that kind of stuff. And just calling it a win. Speaking of, because insurance is exhausting, I had on YouTube come across this doctor, and he's an actual doctor. I think he's an eye doctor, but he's an actual doctor, an MD, and he's called Glaucom Flecken, something like that. I'll put a link to him below. He is doing a shorts series, one short every day for the month of September, so 30 shorts, and he's talking about the healthcare system in the United States and how messed up it is. So For those of you who live in the US and understand how frustrating and stupid our healthcare system is sometimes, it's one of those, like, I don't know, it's kind of like watching a train wreck, because you can sympathize because you've been there at some point, but also you're glad it's not you. Yeah, one of those. And if you're not in the US, it's kind of interesting to see how our system works, or doesn't, as may be the case. I mean, some of the things, and I worked for an insurance company for over 10 years, so I understand how it all works. You know, I processed medical and dental claims. You know, we dealt with pharmacies, and it's just gotten worse since I was there. Insurance is good if you have something catastrophic happen, or if it's something routine. Other than that, insurance generally sucks. And I say that as someone who has pretty decent health insurance. We just kind of count ourselves lucky that we don't really have much wrong. I mean, my husband is diabetic, but other than that, he's usually in pretty good health. And, you know, barring my son's trip to the immediate care for poison ivy, he's generally pretty healthy. And thankfully, my daughter has a job that provides health insurance for her because she turned 26 this year, which meant she had to go off of our insurance. So for those of you who aren't in the US and don't know, once your child turns 26, they can no longer be on your insurance as a parent, even if they live with you, even if they're dependent on you, unless it's a situation where, like, they have special needs and they're unable to work because of a disability or something like that. But typically, and when I was younger, like when I was in my 20s and in college, as soon as we turned 18, the only way we were allowed to stay on our parents' health insurance was that we had to prove we were a college student. And then once you graduated from college, you were on your own. So while some of it is slightly better, it's still not great. But yeah, some of the stuff that he does, he has talked about pharmacy stuff. And yeah, it's just really, plus it's kind of, you know, from a doctor's perspective. So it's a lot of things that I didn't know about how they have to deal with the insurance companies and some of the hoops and things that they have to jump through in order to get things covered. It's entertaining the way that he does it. And they're shorts. They're less than 30 seconds, so, or maybe less than a minute. I'm not sure how long some of them are. But anyway, I'll throw a link to that down below. My other win this week, although also frustrating, not as frustrating as insurance, but pretty much up there, was with Spotify. My youngest has been using Spotify for literally years, and I've tried to get him to move over to Apple Music. He's not having it. He doesn't have an Apple phone, for one thing, and while he could use it on his Android phone, he's been with Spotify for so long. All of his playlists are on there. He understands how it all works. He just doesn't want to move. Okay, whatever. If you pay monthly for Spotify, it's $10 a month, or I think it's $10.99 a month now. It used to be $9.99. Now I think it's $10.99. What we generally do is buy the gift cards, and then you can get them at 3 months at a time, or we used to get was 6 months cards, not 6 months, 12 month cards. So essentially you could get a 12-month card for $99, which meant you were saving like 20 some dollars a year by paying for it all at once with that 12-month card instead of paying the $10 a month. However, I haven't been able to find anywhere locally that carries the 12-month cards anymore. In fact, it seems like a lot of places around here that carry any kind of gift cards at all only carry the 3-month option for Spotify, if they carry Spotify at all. Like, you're not even guaranteed to find a Spotify card. So we thought, well, we'll order one from Amazon. That seems simple. That way we know we can get it. We'll just have it delivered. It's from the Spotify store on Amazon, so we shouldn't have any problems. Get the card, and it will not work. It will not let me redeem the code. It keeps telling me that that code does not work with the premium plan. And I'm like, all it says on the card is that you can't have student or family, because student and family are discounted plans. So of course Spotify doesn't want you to be able to buy, extra months on a discounted plan because they're already giving you a discount, so you can't use the gift cards for that. Okay, fine, I understand that. It's not that either one of those plans. Couldn't get it to work. After much Googling and searching, I found a whole bunch of people on Amazon who were having the same exact problems. And basically were told that they needed to check and make sure that their zip code and their country of origin matched wherever the card was bought from. Well, everything was the same. We've never changed anything. He's had that Spotify account for probably 6 years, if not longer, but I couldn't get it to work. So I finally went through Amazon and got a refund from Amazon, which was not the easiest thing to do, but got that done. And my husband was like out searching. Okay, well, Best Buy sells them in the 99 cent or the $99 value. Okay, well, let's go there and get one. That way we bought it local. I've never had any issues with any of the cards that we bought locally. Let's do that. Buy it, get it home, won't work. I'm like, are you kidding me? So we search and we search and we search, and we finally find something on Spotify that's like basically AI chat. Lo and behold, the chat can't help me. It tells me they're going to assign me to a tech. Now, I don't know if this tech was a real person or not, because you're just chatting with them basically on your computer, like IMing them. There's no, I didn't hear anybody's voice or anything, so I have no idea if it was an actual person or not. Go through the whole thing. I had to take a picture of the card, send them a picture of the front of the card, a picture of the back of the card to prove that we'd purchased it, show what the code was. They couldn't get it to work. Send me to maybe an actual person. They look at it, and after about 5 minutes, I get a message that says, okay, we'll fix this for you. So I wait like another 10, 15 minutes, and they come back on and say, okay, we fixed all this. Your account should be good for 12 months. So I go in and I look, and yep, sure enough, it shows that the account is good for another 12 months. Okay, great, cool. Everything's fine. I go to tell my son, hey, you're good to go. It's all set up for another 12 months. And he's like, well, I was coming up to ask because I just got an email saying that my account was canceled. And I was like, what? So we go back and look at the timing of it. Well, it's the timing of it. It was sent while I was chatting with the AI whatever. So I don't know what happened, but apparently something on their back end was keeping us from being able to redeem it. So it appears that what happened is that they canceled his account and then immediately reinstated it. I'm assuming somehow as a different type of account, even though it still shows the individual premium, which is exactly what it showed before. But now it shows he's got that 12 months credit on it. So I don't know what the deal is, but I'm like, you know what? After this year, I think you need to just dump Spotify, because I don't know what this nonsense is. But anyway, we finally managed to get it done, so I'm going to count that as a win. I don't know what the issue was, why we had to go through all that rigmarole. Like I said, all of the 3-month cards that we've bought, I've never ever had an issue with. So why suddenly we can't redeem these 12-month cards, and why you can't find them anywhere? I mean, it used to be all the places carried them. Walmart, Target, Dillon's, everybody had Spotify cards of all different denominations. And now I can only find them in 1 or 2 places, and they only have the 3-month ones. They don't have any other denominations anymore. Just weird. I don't know if they want you to have to pay each month, because then they can raise prices and just take it directly out of your bank account. I don't know. I don't know if they don't want you to have credit, because that was the other thing. I guess Spotify limits, you can only have 12 months. No, you can only have 18 months of credit at a time on your Spotify account. That's not what it was, because his subscription was going to expire next month. So he didn't have 18 months, but I thought, well, that's a weird thing. Like, if I wanted to buy 2 months ahead of, or 2 years ahead of time, why can't I? Let's face it, if they want to change it, they'll just change it, because Amazon did the same thing to me. I had a subscription to their Kindle Unlimited, which was a certain price per month, and I basically got a thing in the middle of it that said, hey, we're going to be raising prices. Do you want to pay for 6 to 12 months now and lock in this lower price, or do you want to just pay the new price when it comes out? It's always something, isn't it? So anyway, I'm feeling good because I feel like I got some wins. I was feeling better about my foot. Still not great, but it's doing okay. We got our thing with the dentist sorted out, and I made Spotify give us our $99 worth of 12 months of subscription. So see, this is why I don't like doing things via subscription, because I feel like it just makes things unnecessarily complicated. So that was my life update. Now, what's going on in my diamond painting world? You guys, DP for Vets is coming up soon. It starts November 1st. So if you don't have that on your calendar, add it to your calendar. And remember how I was telling you guys last time that you're supposed to do things that scare you? I was so anxious sending emails just kind of out of the blue to people asking them to sponsor. I gotta admit, even though it sucked doing it, I'm so glad I did it because everybody that I asked said yes. So I'm so excited. Beginning in October, I'll be mentioning probably in each WIP and chat, I'll be talking about, one of the sponsors. I don't know exactly yet what everybody is sending. So hopefully when I do that, I should know all that definitely before mid-October so that I can make a video, because I'm planning on making a video in mid-October about the event, give you guys all the details. I'll share the sponsors, what's going to be in the prize package, all that kind of stuff. So hit that subscribe button so you don't miss all of that. And I've got some surprises coming up, hopefully, so you don't want to miss those either. Yeah, so I'm super excited. That looks like it's going to be a really fun event again this year. And I'm excited to, once again, be making a donation to a military charity, which is something I ask everybody who participates to do as well if you are able. It's not required for the event, but those people do a lot and don't receive enough thanks, monetarily or otherwise. So I finished my Halloween family. You guys should have seen that one. That was one of my sneak peeks from Oraloa. And it's finished. So yay, I'm done with that one. I wanted to have that one finished before the sneak peek came out, and I just didn't make it. I need to figure out a better process for doing these so I can diamond paint faster. I'm working on it. I'm trying to gather a bunch of tips. I've got tips that people have given me, methods that people have tried, but I still need to kind of test them out for myself and see if they work for me, because not everybody works the same way, Some of us want fancy pens, some of us want basic stuff, some of us only like rounds, some of us only like squares. We're all different, and however makes you the happiest is how you should work. What's making me happiest, especially right now, is working with these rounds, because not that I dislike squares, but they're just mentally more wearing on me. I don't know why, but they are. Anyway, so I am working on this one. Also, I kind of need to eat my words a little bit with Diamond Art Club tips. So I have a 3-placer, and this is the 6-placer. And I had tried both of them, and I just found them a bit right? My biggest issue with them is they don't really fit in any pens. So you have to jury rig them somehow. Like mine have tape on them, and even with tape on them, they're not as sturdy. They're still a bit wobbly. However, I got some new putty this week. So shout out to April over at Putty Crocker's Boutique and More over on Facebook. She contacted me and asked me if I'd like to try out some of her putty, and I said sure, so she sent it to me. You guys, one of the ones she sent me is called Erica's Rainbow Skittles. I don't know if I think it smells like Skittles, but it definitely smells like candy. My husband thinks it smells like candy necklaces, but it's like grape and cherry and all those candy smells. Delicious. I actually am using in my DAC tip the mystery one that she sent. I don't know what it is, but it smells kind of like grape and chocolate mixed together. It's a mystery, but it smells good. Anyway, it's not very heavily scented, which is good for me because that can set up my migraines. But that's why I started to say I needed to kind of eat my words about my DAC tip, because I used her putty instead of my museum putty, and it works so much better. So I don't know. Like I even went out and did a search of like, does museum putty go bad? It says it doesn't. It should be very stable, and as long as you're not exposing it to direct sunlight, which I haven't been. Mine stays in the little container that it came in unless I'm getting it out to, fill up my pen or whatever. But it just, I don't know, it's weird. But the Putty Crocker putty is working, so I've been using that in my DAC tip. I did honestly, once I realized that maybe the putty was part of the issue, think about going and buying some of the Diamond Art Club tips, since they came out with, basically the whole set. They've got a 3, a 4, a 6, and was it like 8 or 10 and a 12, something like that. I don't even know what all the sizes they have now. However, I didn't, because I think they work well. I don't like that they don't fit in any pens. And I tend to move around which pens I use. So I want to be able to move my tips around as well. Because I know there are workarounds that people are like, oh, we'll hot glue it into place and all that kind of stuff. I don't want to go to that much trouble. Like, it should just fit in my pen like all my other tips. It does work well, and I get why people like it, because it's the reason that I like my tips that have the thin walls. These are so thin that they sit on top of the drills. So when you multi-place, what usually happens when you multi-place is your tip goes down far enough that the edges of the tip fit in between drills, and so you end up with this slight gap between where you were multi-placing. The DAC tips kind of set on top, so you don't run into that issue, which means even when you're multi-placing, it looks a lot cleaner. You don't have as much gapping and stuff. So I do understand why people like them, in that regard. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to buy a whole bunch more until they figure out how to make them fit in pins better. Okay, what else is going on? I am not a Facebook person. I use Facebook, but I'm not good at it. So someone please explain to me why some groups don't allow pages to join. Like, is there a reason behind that? Because I set up my group so long ago, I don't remember. I'm assuming that's an option that you can pick, because I see so many groups that I would like to join, but I basically, whenever I'm on Facebook, I'm on my page profile, because that has my logo and all that kind of stuff, and that's how I interact with people. I don't really use the personal profile on there, and it's just such a hassle to kind of flip back and forth to see, well, if I'm going to this group, then I got to be on this profile. If I'm going to do this, then I got to do that. It's just annoying. What, is there an easier way to flip back and forth that I'm unaware of? Is there a reason that groups don't let pages join? Is that a Facebook thing that I'm unaware of? Weird aside, but anyway, I was just wondering. Also, if you're not in my Facebook group, please join. We are growing. Love to see what everybody's working on. I try to get in there at least every couple of days and post something to encourage everybody to kind of talk. And of course, I post in there about what I'm doing on YouTube and what I'm working on. I also do that on Instagram, so if you'd rather follow me on Instagram, you can do that as well. But I do a lot of times post pictures on there before you'll see whatever project it is that I'm working on YouTube, simply because, it doesn't usually show up on YouTube until I'm finished with it. So if you like seeing in progress pics, the Facebook group or Instagram is the way to go. You guys, yesterday I was working on a project, and I was on the section on the end. So I was doing my row across, and I was on the last section on the end. My husband was watching football. I'm diamond painting. We're talking. And I'm almost done with the section. And I looked down and realized that the dominant color of the section, I've used the wrong color on the wrong symbol. So I spent over an hour pulling off the drills that I had just spent almost an hour placing down. So super frustrated with myself. I mean, I've done it before, but I've never done that many wrongly placed drills. Usually I will catch it before I have that many put down on the wrong space. But I just wanted to cry when I realized what I had done. My husband comes over, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, I just put all these on the wrong color. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Not that he volunteered to help me with any of it, but oh, I've had another weird thing pop up with YouTube. So I don't know what's going on. Apparently there's some Adpocalypse thing where basically, and this has been going on for a while now, so I don't know where it's at in the process, but basically YouTube was charging advertisers and telling them that people were clicking on their ads when they actually weren't, or something like that. So now a bunch of advertisers are demanding money back, and yeah, it's just been a big mess for a lot of people. Knock on wood, I have not been affected by anything yet. And I mean, I'm not somebody we don't make our living on YouTube or anything like that, so whatever. But YouTube already eats comments sometimes. And now I've had another weird thing pop up. So I have it set up so that I get emails when people comment. And generally what I do is I respond through the email. So when I get the email and have the comment, I can hit a reply button and it will take me to the comment section of that video and I can enter my reply. Well, for the last couple of days, it's not letting me do this. When I go to reply, it'll take me to the video, take me to the comment, and it will let me type in a comment, but my reply button is grayed out. It will not let me actually post the reply. And I don't understand, because if I go to the YouTube Studio app, which is where I find a lot of missed comments, so I do check there periodically, but I haven't been going there all the time. When I go in there, I will find it does allow me to respond. Okay, I don't understand. Like, are they just trying to force us to use the studio app, whatever? But here's the really weird thing is, I think I have it all figured out. Okay, somehow that's not working. But when I'm on my phone or I'm on my iPad, I can reply from my email doing that whole process. But if I'm on my desktop, it doesn't work. Exact same procedure, just doesn't work on my desktop, which I guess most of the time I'm on my iPad and my phone anyway, because those are more portable. So it's not a huge deal that I can't do it on my PC. It's just weird. Like, technology is so confusing. Because, am I doing something wrong? Is it a glitch that I should be telling them about? Is this them trying to make us do something one way? And yeah, so many questions. And it just doesn't ever seem like you get a straight answer. You know what I mean? So crazy. Then also, I was watching some reels on Instagram, and somebody was talking about, it was a diamond painting company that I never heard of before. So whenever I come across those, I always immediately, because I'm old and if I don't do it immediately, I'll forget, I will go search for the company so that I can bookmark it. And when I'm looking for something new, oh yeah, there's this company that I haven't tried. Let me go try it. Well, this company apparently only exists on Facebook, and all I can find is a page for them. There's no like website or anything. And there's nothing like, there's no Facebook Marketplace link or anything. I guess you just have to DM the person who runs it. And then, I don't know, it's like some super secret website. Either that or I just don't know how to Google, but I couldn't get anything to come up. Anyway, that's irrelevant. The point of it was she was talking about AI art and asking if this particular image was AI art or not. And like, have I missed something in the DP community around AI art? Like, is there some kind of boycott or something? Like, I'm not trying to start anything. I'm just curious. If it's drama, please just tell me it's drama and then I'll avoid it. I'm good. I don't need any more drama. But I'm not here for the debate over AI art. But what I found interesting was she mentioned a service called Hive Moderation. So I went out to that website to look it up because I was like, what is this? Well, I guess it's some sort of service. And it says it's a Chrome extension, which I can't use because I could, but I don't use Chrome. I don't like Chrome. I don't use Google. I use Firefox as my browser. I couldn't find anything that was a Firefox extension for it, so I don't know if I can use it. But anyway, I guess you can upload like text and images and stuff, and it will give you information. Like when I very first started teaching and the internet became a thing and all the students were using internet, somebody, I think it was an English teacher, came up with this service called Turnitin. And essentially what it was that you would get the students to give you their papers in electronic format, or, you could scan them in or whatever. And then you would upload them to this Turnitin service, and it would go out and do an internet search for you and tell you whether or not any or all of the paper had been plagiarized and from where. Like, it would give you the page, show you the quote, tell you what website it was, all that kind of stuff. So I guess it's sort of like this, but now it's for AI. So you can upload text, you can upload an image, and this Hive moderation place will tell you how big of a percentage or how much of the image or the text or whatever is AI generated. Now, I don't know how that works. I told my husband, so this is like an AI robot telling on another AI robot. That's what this is. Like, it's very Twilight Zone for me. It's just kind of crazy. But anyway, since AI art hit the scene, that's one of the things, and I think I've mentioned this before, that I wondered was, how are we as consumers supposed to tell the difference? Because I want to say that AI art has a style. It's most of them are very hyper realistic, very detailed, lots of shading and shadows and weird lighting and stuff. But I also know that there are artists who use AI during their creation process. So, like, where's the line? If I run it through this Hive whatever, and it says, well, this is, only 10% human, does that mean it's AI art? Is it 50% human? Does that make it art? If it's 75% human, does that not make it, or does it have to be 100% human in order to qualify as quote unquote art? And there's a huge argument going around, people debating. To me, it's a debate between whether or not people consider AI a tool or not. Like, a keyboard is a tool for people who write. A brush is a tool for people who paint. Is Photoshop a tool, or do you consider that AI? Because there are still people who will tell you that if you're a photographer, only film is true photography. Digital photography is not real photography. Now, you can manipulate film with dodge and burn and chemicals and all kinds of stuff the same way that you can manipulate stuff in Photoshop. I mean, that's where the idea for Photoshop came from. So I just think it gets to be this murky line. And yeah, it's just crazy. And what is that? Is that one of those old Irish proverbs? May your life be interesting. We live in interesting times, right? So I really want to find out more about this Hive moderation and see, like, I'd be really curious to run some of the paintings that I see through and see what it says is AI, and know, like, I'm curious to be like, okay, I know this is a piece of art done by an artist before AI was around. How accurate is it? Is it going to tell me that it's AI because this image has been around and it's on the internet, so it thinks that's AI? Like, yeah, I'm really curious to see how it will work or not. But I can't, like I said, I can't find anything that's not a Chrome extension, and I'm not curious enough to, just for curiosity's sake, install Chrome and mess with all of that. Does everyone just use Chrome now? Is that how it goes? I don't use Chrome because every time that I ever tried to use Chrome, my computer would just slow down horrendously. And after multiple searches and trying to tweak all the things that people told me to tweak to make it run better, it just never worked. And I finally just gave up. So, and both of my kids used Chromebooks in school. Oh my gosh, I have never wanted to throw things across the room more sometimes than trying to deal with that technology. And more often than not, when something went wrong, the answer was just to get a new Chromebook, which seems so wasteful. So I'm working on my rounds. I'm having a good time. I'm going to be working on my square one later today. I'm waiting to see if this hurricane is going to be a thing or if it's just going to kind of peter out before it does any real damage. We'll see. Nobody at hubby's work has gotten called out, so I think that's a good thing. I mean, some of them want to go. The rest of them are kind of like, it's not going to hurt our feelings if we don't have to go anywhere. So, aw, dang it. And I just missed those T's right there. See, when I'm talking, I just lose track of what I'm doing. Anyway. So is everybody getting ready for Halloween? This is a weird season for me. I don't have little kids anymore. We don't really have any little kids in our family. You know, all of our nieces and nephews here are grown, so we don't really do Halloween anymore. Was never one of my favorite holidays anyway. I am not a big fan of spooky, gory things. I'm not a fan of being scared, honestly. So yeah, Halloween's never been my big thing. I am looking forward to Thanksgiving though. That will be different when we move to Canada because Thanksgiving up there is in October instead of November. I told my husband we'll just do it twice. We'll do it with his family in October and then they can come over and do it with us and have our American Thanksgiving in November. So yeah, we're going to have 2 Thanksgivings. That'll be good. Okay. Didn't get a whole heck of a lot accomplished. I think I spent more time waving my hands around than I did actually diamond painting today. So maybe I'll leave this one out on the table and I'll work on it a bit in here. And then when I'm ready to go tackle some more squares, I can go back out to my workspace out there and tackle some more squares. I'm sure there'll be some football on today that everyone will want to watch, so I can get some good diamond painting in while we do that. All right, let me zoom out a bit so you can see the little that I accomplished here. So as you can see, I didn't get a ton done, but it is rounds. It goes pretty fast. Yeah, once I'm not talking, I'll turn on one of my dead people shows or I'll turn on some music. That usually gets me going with a pretty steady rhythm and I can go a bit faster. Maybe that's something I should explore. Does listening to music or watching shows make me any faster? Also, just as a weird aside, part of my research, you guys, I know there are people who tell me that they listen to videos on like 2 times speed or 3 times speed. That way they can get through more videos in the same amount of time. Awesome. Great. However, apparently, so essentially what happens is if you have a 10-minute video, it's a 10-minute video when you watch it on normal speed. If you watch it at 2 times speed, it only takes you 5 minutes. So instead of getting 10 minutes of watch time, the creator only gets 5 minutes of watch time. Interesting. Did not know that. Okay. I think that's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video. Don't forget to mark a DP for Vets on your calendar for the month of November. Patriotic, Remembrance Day, Veterans Day theme, anything like that will be good to go. I will have, like I said, videos coming out in October that will have more details, more information about sponsors. I'm super excited. I hope you are too. Before you leave, guys, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.